Faye and I started Education Unlimited in 1999 as a home educating couple wanting to help and encourage other home educating parents. It has grown to include a wonderful group of like-minded individuals, including facilitators, managers, and assistants, who share the vision and direction of this ministry. It has also come to include a large number of parents seeking true freedom in educating their children. My own professional journey started over 40 years ago. It took me through 25 years of classroom teaching in 2 provinces and 2 languages in private, separate, and public schools. I taught K-12 French as a second language for most of my career as a consequence of my being bilingual. And although I did enjoy working with children of all ages, I especially enjoyed teaching high school level biology, in particular, in keeping with my interest in training. I must admit that my search for a better school took me to a number of different places, eventually leading me to realize that even though my own personal grade school experience was not that great, my best efforts as a teacher could not change an entrenched system of educational mediocrity. This finally led me to see that I could not guarantee even my own children's educational well-being within the status quo school system. So in the late 1980s, as the fledgling home education movement was just gaining momentum in Alberta, and just before my oldest child was to enter junior high, Faye and I decided that the only way we could be sure of doing the best for our children was to do it ourselves. In retrospect, we clearly wish we would have never put any of our children in school, as doing so required a lot of remediation for both our children and ourselves. I have a lot of funny stories about this time of our lives, but that will have to wait for another time. Since it was known that I was a high school teacher, our decision to home educate our children automatically put me in leadership within the home education community. It also put me at odds with my high school teaching colleagues, which provided me with many opportunities to hone my debating skills. However, we soon discovered that being a teacher was not so much an asset as a liability. Teachers come complete with a predetermined set of ideas as to what constitutes a normal education. Considering that all teachers are trained within a school-based ideology and that nearly all teaching experience is school-based, it is easy to understand how teachers would be most tolerable or comfortable with variations of homeschooling. Initially, bringing school home proved to be a mistake for us. I'm not sure what we were thinking. If school wasn't working for us at school, why did we think that bringing school home would make it any better? This bad attitude needed to be fixed, and as we did, we discovered a very simple solution for successful home education. And it goes like this. No matter what, by looking into what school do, respecting anything, provides insight into what we needed to avoid doing. Or simply put, see what school does and don't do that. By the mid-1990s, we had become unschoolers. Not because it was trendy as it is today, as most home educators of that era simply desired to outperform their local school, but because it was the only way that we could respect the individuality of each of our children as well as the uniqueness of our family. The discovery not only benefited our children at home, but applying what I was learning through educating my children at home to my classroom situation resulted in my overwhelming success as a public high school teacher. Even though I had initially planned to become a veterinarian so I could work within my field of interest in biology, I eventually came to the realization that my gifting and calling was as a teacher. And I was blessed to be able to teach what I enjoyed learning. I can now see that no matter where I may have been or what I was doing, I always wanted to learn more and to share what I had learned with whoever might be interested. That's how I came to create and become the director and visionary for Education Unlimited. Even though Education Unlimited working through and with Harvest Baptist Academy, today finds itself as one of many home education providing options. It has never been seen or directed as anything other than a ministry in service to parents wanting to be freed from the tyranny of having to send children to school or to emulate school at home. The motivation behind its creation was not to enrich ourselves in some way, but as a sincere desire to inform parents on the proper workings of how a real education, as opposed to a school education, should look. I believe that Education Unlimited has grown to be Alberta's best representative of true home education. You will notice that I used true, avoiding the use of traditional home education, which along with other terms such as blended, aligned, online, or accredited, are increasingly becoming code words for variations of public educational program, something we strive to avoid using, preferring instead more appropriate curriculum in support of parental faith and educational goals. You can be forgiven for being a bit overwhelmed regarding what to do about your home education affiliations, for it is a rather confused system we have here in Alberta. Home education in Alberta is complicated by the fact that there is funding associated with it, and as a consequence, there is far too much competition, marketing, and misinformation designed to win your allegiance rather than help you with your program. To help you gain clarity, I would like to make you aware of some important facts you should consider before making that all-important decision as to who you choose to be your guides and helpers in your home education journey. But before I begin, please understand that I'm attempting to address 4 potential audiences at one time, including parents already associated with Education Unlimited, parents home educating through a competing school, new home educating parents looking for a school with which to be associated, and parents who are merely interested or considering home education. I hope to answer everyone's questions, but please do not hesitate to ask or contact the office should you require further clarification regarding any particular issue. Now first, let's talk about the rules respecting education in this province. Every child between the ages of 6 and 16, including the home educated, must be registered somewhere. Home educating parents can choose to register with any accredited school within the province. This means that the home educated are borderless students, explaining why they are in demand by schools throughout the province. The second point one needs to understand is that while there is basic funding available for home education programs in this province, the amount made available to the school increases with greater use of government programming. The reason government pays more for the implementation of its curriculum should be self-evident. Parents looking to escape school ideology should therefore be aware that normalizing public programming by convincing unsuspecting parents to do things the government's way may indeed be hard to resist. And while it will result in the schools gaining more funding, it comes with the loss of parental freedom and autonomy. In other words, if you have any desire to independently unschool, it is highly recommended that you avoid any provider who offers accreditation or any other manifestation of public programming. On that note, Education Unlimited only advances and supports real home education and remains true to its conviction to never offer any type of government programming or accreditation. It should also be known that we have had no problems in transitioning students without accreditation and without diploma into the post-secondary arena. And now that we have clarified the fact that all must be registered and that the level of funding is dependent on programming, we need to address the importance of associating with a provider that most closely represents your worldview perspective. Again, it is suggested that caution be used, as most providers will be more than willing to become whatever you desire of them. Asking questions of representatives of a particular school is no guarantee you're going to get the truth. Neither is a cursory glance at a website. Both are there to convince you to register with that particular school. So I want to encourage parents to look past the glitter, checking into the provider's history for clues of nefarious motivations, or into the school's anti-bullying policy for signs of compromise, and whether the provider being considered contributes to the greater home education community, or is rather self-serving, or probably better ways to determine what a particular school option is really all about. On that note, we stand with Harvest Baptist Academy in resisting the pressure being exerted by the Ministry of Education respecting gay-straight alliances. Please understand, this is absolutely not anti-LGBTQ, anti-GSA, or anti-Bill 24, but more of a constitutional argument respecting religious and parental freedom and authority. In fact, Education Unlimited is not anti-anything. We offer an unschooling approach to home education from our Christian worldview, without compromise, without judgment, without proselytizing, and, most importantly, without apology. We are but one of many options available with which to associate for home education. An option is just that. Anyone is free to associate with us or not. However, if you do choose to have us as your associate board, we will consistently act in keeping with whom we state we are, and nothing else. Should we not be what you expect of supporters of your home education program, then we are not your best option. We're okay with that, because we're not motivated by numbers, funding, or prestige. We simply want to serve as many as possible in the best way we can within the parameters of our faith. Now, if government approval is what you're looking for, there are a number of places you can go, including school. However, if freedom in education is important to you, and if you are wanting to associate with a school and agency that will make your family's interest of greater concern, then Education Unlimited is the place to be. One more thing on this topic before we move on. We have a long history of successfully serving those who have entrusted us as their home education providers. We will not be drawn into arguments and debates about issues outside of our purview of helping those who desire to learn and grow in their home education program. I'm dead serious about this. The moment we are willing to entertain this and to start compromising our faith, we destroy the very premise that separates us from nearly all the other home education providers of this province. I'm passionate about being uncompromisingly faithful to our cause of enabling, encouraging, and equipping home education in this province and beyond. Personally, I would rather die standing than to live on bended knees, subjecting myself to someone else's unreasonable expectations of me or the organization. I'm a freedom fighter. I value and support families. I am determined to carry on as the faithful servant of the one who set me free and who loves his children. Better still, this is not an I thing, as I am not alone. The staff of Harvest Baptist Academy and Education Unlimited are with me. We all believe the same, and with conviction. If that is what you're looking for, look no further than Education Unlimited. Now moving on. I need to point out a glaring problem that is presently plaguing the provincial home education community, and that is there seems to be a real lack of true leadership that can be depended on. Now, this is not to say that there are not good people doing all they can to advance, protect, and defend home education, but that the funding of home education in Alberta has resulted in the creation of an associated industry, and its employees are often more focused on whatever is most expedient for their survival and growth. For example, when the agencies who should be doing everything to keep home educators safe become a part of the problem by being absent from the discussion on Bill 24 issue, one has to wonder what the future of home education will be like in Alberta. Reminds me of an old song sung by Christian singer-songwriter Don Francisco from many years ago, who lamented a similar sentiment in a song by asking, who will take care of the sheep when the wolves are on full-time staff? It's sad, but true, when considering that both HSLDA, the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, and the Alberta Home Education Association have done, or more appropriately, not done, to warn the Christian home educators of this province against the agency, schools, and providers who, while giving pretense to having a faith base, are quick to jettison that faith to ensure a continuation of funding. That is why we chose to do what they failed to do, by working hard to assemble a comprehensive listing of home education providers and their positions regarding Bill 24. Parents deserve to know, should be informed as to what is going on and how they can be unwittingly made to be complicit in the compromises of their school. This information is freely available to all on our website. All right, now that I've allowed my passions to overflow, let me give you a few more advantages to being associated with us at Education Unlimited. We're friendly. And we have a digital system that is simply unrivaled by our competitors. Parents can use it to complete their program planning online, live, in conjunction with their facilitator if they wish. They can also create transcript for each child to record their children's educational progress in a document that has been accepted at most post-secondary institutions. Speaking of post-secondary institutions, we know how to prepare students for their future without needing government accreditation or diplomas. On top of that, the system we have invented provides for digital submission of reimbursement claims, e-transfers, and 24/7 access to all of the financial transactions as well as student records, to mention but a few more things found on our website. We also have some of the best, most dedicated facilitators in the province, even if I must say so without fully knowing the others. Our facilitators visit parents twice a year, but they do not come to measure your children according to government standards or to measure your ability as a parent. They come to encourage and to equip you in your home education. For we believe that it is the parents who have the authority in the education of their children, not us. Our website includes listings of student and parent resources, post-secondary institutions from across Canada, and nearly unlimited postings of blogs, insights, articles, presentations, and other helps. We have done this with the objective of informing all the home educators of this province. Since the provincial and national agency that should have taken the responsibility to properly inform home educators seem to be rather preoccupied with other more important business. In fact, it has come to our attention that the majority, the most of the users of our website are actually not registered through Education Limited. Obviously, this says something about what other providers are failing to do. We believe in God. We are uncompromisingly Christian. We desire freedom above other considerations. We love and serve families as a family of families. I invite you to become one of those families and to be a part of Education Unlimited's dynamic ministry. For more about us and or to get more information on home education, go to our website, educationunlimited.ca or leogoma.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being who you are. Remain steadfastly committed to your convictions and come share them with the world through us at Education Unlimited.